it's basketball season in our home. So our Saturdays right now are filled with basketball games. All three of our boys are currently playing, and I help with the teams as much as I can. I used to travel all the time pre-COVID, so can never commit to being the head coach, but try to be one of the assistant coaches whenever I can. And so this Saturday, our 10-year-old, I do get to help coach his team. So we had a game on Saturday, and it was as messy as you can imagine 10-year-old fourth grade basketball would be. Um, Came down to the end. It was a very close game, and we were playing a team that could not hit a shot to save their life. I mean, it was that they just, again, they're 10 years old, fourth grade. Expectations are pretty low. They were having a rough day, and we're a decent team. We weren't shooting very well, but you could tell we kind of knew what we were doing. Just weren't executing. The other team, they were just rough for them. Well, we had a 3-point lead, which felt insurmountable. All of a sudden, about 30 seconds left, the other team, again, most of their points had come off of layups, right? Like not jump shots, not actual shots. Most of their points had come off of layups as a result of turnovers. So they hadn't made a normal shot all day. 30 seconds left or so, they throw up a three, and of course, it goes in. Tie game, now we're headed to overtime. So we're in overtime, and one of our guys, sweetest young kid, has not really played organized basketball, has not learned the full fundamentals, has played in leagues where like double dribbling was okay, traveling was kind of okay. So we've had to work a lot on just kind of the basic fundamentals. He drives down and gets fouled, and there's probably a minute left or so. He gets fouled, tie game still. Right now we're in overtime. It's a tie game. He misses the first free throw barely. And I mean, it's bouncing around the rim, and he's like running backwards, so excited, thinking that he's made a shot and he's going to help his team win. And then it falls out. It's like, oh, missed it. It's like, all right, it's all right, bud. You got one more shot. So he goes up, and the ref had warned him, said, hey, you need to stay at this line, which I thought was kind of weird. I've never seen a warning for backing up. Usually the warning is you don't cross the line, right? You cross the line on a free throw, it's a miss. Well, he makes his next free throw, and he's running down the court, pumping his fist. He's so excited. Didn't realize the ref had blown the whistle, and they called him for crossing the line. Violation. Basket doesn't count. So it's still a tie game. And the other team called timeout. Our guys come over to the bench, and this young man is just crushed. He's sitting on the bench, and he's just shaking. His knees are shaking. He's starting to cry. I looked at him. I was like, hey, look at me. You're okay. So proud of you. You're doing great. You're playing hard. That's okay. That's okay. You're not hurting the team. All right, we all make mistakes. It's okay. And look, the game's not over. We've still got time, right? There's still game left to play. So don't worry about it. Just go keep playing hard. Keep doing what you've been doing, right? Nobody on the team's upset with you. Nobody's mad at you. Look, your teammates think you're awesome, right? Nobody's mad. It's okay. Let's keep playing. Let's keep fighting. There's still time on the clock. So again, about a minute or so left. The other team now has the ball. They inbound it. They drive down. This same young man gets a steal. 15 seconds left. He's driving down to the other end. What does he do? This kid who had just made a free throw that he thought could have won the game, found out that he made an error that made the free throw not count. He's crushed. He's emotional. He's mad. He's embarrassed. He's frustrated. Gets right back in the game, gets a steal, and goes and makes the game-winning shot. And I'm sitting I cry over everything. I'm sitting on the sidelines just trying not to bawl, watching this 10-year-old battle through, right? He'd had what he thought was a major setback. He had a failure, an embarrassment, an obstacle, and he could have said, hey, I don't want to go back in the game. He could have just gone out there and just stood and pouted, right? Not been in the game, but not really been in the game. He had a lot of options in how he could have shown up in that moment. But this young man, 10 years old, he bounced back from his setback. And he went in, had the right mindset, said, I'm going for it. If I'm gonna be on the court, I'm gonna be on the court. If I'm in the game, I'm gonna be in the game and fully in the game. And he went and got a steal and made the game-winning shot. And whether or not he made it doesn't really matter. It's kind of an added bonus. The point was that he went in and he was engaged and he was aggressive and he gave his best effort. When just seconds earlier, he was embarrassed and hurt and frustrated and ashamed and angry. He could have easily taken himself out mentally. But what he learned in that moment is that your circumstances don't define you. Your past doesn't define you. Your mistakes don't define you. How you show up in this moment is what matters. And you have a choice, just like he had a choice. Because all of us have issues. All of us have had setbacks in our lives. All of us have made mistakes. We've had failures. We've been embarrassed. We've been ashamed. We've screwed up. You may be in that situation right now. You may be in a moment right now where you're experiencing that. And instead of getting in the game, you've taken yourself out. You're sitting on the sideline saying, no, I'm not good enough to be in the game. Or maybe you have decided to go back in the game, but you're just going through the motions. You're not really in the game. You're just kind of on the court. You're not giving your best. You're not being intentional. But you have a choice. If you have the right mindset to say, yeah, I've screwed up. That's okay. Maybe even big screw ups, right? That happens. That's life. But you get to choose to bounce back from that setback. You get to choose to get back in the game and to be fully in the game, to be fully engaged, to still give your best effort, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your past, regardless of your mistakes, regardless of your situation. You get to choose how you show up. You get to choose how you respond to a setback. You can have more setbacks after more setbacks after more setbacks just because you continue to not engage the right way. Or you can bounce back and say, yeah, I know that happened and I own it. I'm not going to hide from it. I know it happened, but I know I still have an option right now. I can still move forward right now. I can still bring my best right now. You can learn, just like this 10-year-old did, that you get to choose how you show up in each moment. You don't have to be defined by your mistakes or by your situation or your circumstances or your past. You can show up and bring your best in this moment. So again, maybe you're facing a setback right now. That's okay. Right? Maybe you're angry and you're confused and you're frustrated. That's okay. That's life. But the only way through it is to bounce back, to get back in the game, to choose to bring your best, even when it's hard, even when you don't understand, even when it's frustrating, even when you don't want to. You say, no, this is who I am. And that's what we told them after the game. We said, we're so proud of you, right? You got back in the game. You kept competing. You kept showing up because that's who you are. You're not a quitter. You're a fighter. And it's great that you made the shot. We're more proud just of how you responded in that moment. That's a lesson that he will carry with him the rest of his life. It's a lesson that I'll carry with him, with me. Learning from a 10-year-old, like, this is what it looks like. No excuses. You show up and bring your best. Now, that's a mindset we all need, right? Because we're all going to face setbacks, but we can always have the option of bouncing back. But it starts when you have the right mindset. Tracy, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that. It's making me think of, and I'm going to give a shout out to a friend of mine here in Oklahoma City. I don't know if you can see this. She is the women's wrestling coach for Oklahoma City University. And she had posted this weekend because she had gone with her team, taking her team up to the freezing cold of Nebraska. And to your point, I won't read the whole thing, but she just said, if there's anything I'd like to teach my college girls, it would be how to react and how to handle adversity when it occurs. So hers was a little different. It wasn't on the mat, although they may have had some things, during as well. But I know it was freezing cold. They were in their bus, traveling to and from Nebraska. I guess their heat went out or something. It wasn't warm. I mean, she said it was misery, and that not a single one of her teammates, the girls on the team, complained about the situation. So they not only went out there and did their best on the mat, but then to and from the event, they had a great attitude, and it changes everything, right? And so you may or may not be in the sports world if you're watching or listening, but it applies to whatever,
That's right.
where you're at work.
And your attitude there multiplies, right? It's like you have an impact because with those girls, same thing with this kid. They could have chosen to be negative, to whine and complain, and why is this isn't fun? And it wasn't fun. Like those all would have been justified responses, but that would have led to lower performance.
That's right.
Right, which would have led to more frustration. Same thing with this kid. He could have and been mad and sat down, or just gone and just stood on the court and not played defense and not been engaged. Well, then he would have actually hurt the team.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of being able to help the team. So we have, again, our choice, we've got to realize it doesn't just impact us, it impacts those around us.
Yeah. And obviously the leader sets the coach
Yep.
sets the tone, right? And so
Yep.
if my friend Nicole had a terrible attitude herself, they would have maybe piled on. I don't know.
Yeah.
She set the
Yep.
tone. They're great women, all of those wrestlers, and so it changes everything. And
Absolutely. And
go
we
ahead.
see coaches every weekend, and not just in basketball, the other sports that our kids play. Like I watch coaches. It's just something I'm
Mhm.
partially because of the work that I'm in, but I watch how coaches coach. I watch how they talk to kids. And it's amazing how often, like, good grief, they're 10, like,
Yeah.
calm down. It's okay. Like, you can't get mad at them when you're an adult and this is your response to a 10-year-old making a mistake or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
And that's a huge thing. The leader sets the tone. So if you are a leader watching this, especially if you're a leader with title of leader, you've got to own how you respond to adversity and to setback, because your team will have them, right? Doesn't mean you're going the wrong direction. Doesn't mean you did something wrong. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just life, right? Sometimes your heater just breaks down. It's like, well, you have to own how you respond in those moments. And I think the other piece for me is, especially with raising kids, but this is true of raising teams, right?
Mhm.
Of raising leaders, is you want a team that has a mindset of resilience, of grit, of commitment. That doesn't happen until you've been tested,
It's true.
right? Like, our kids are not going to be resilient if we never put them in situations where resilience is required of them.
Mhm.
It'll just be a talking point, and they'll never have to overcome adversity if we try to remove every piece of adversity from their lives. And so part of this thing with mindset is, like, everything is training. So we had a mentor last week. We may have talked about it. I don't remember, but this idea, like, run away from comfort, because we pursue comfort, which means we're never going to get better. So if you run to discomfort, again, that doesn't mean go seek out issues, but you lean into that discomfort. Like, that's how you're training your mind to respond to these situations. So maybe you failed the last time. That's okay. Or again, don't beat yourself up. Learn from that, because that setback's going to happen again. That adversity is going to happen again. You get to choose to be better the next time that you face it. So it's everything's training.
So true. Well, very good. Yeah, I love this. Great reminder. What's the boy's first name again? Shout out to him one more time.
Benny.
Benny. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Benny, amazing. I hope you get to watch this. Your parents too. Good job, parents. Probably you had a
Yep.
lot to do with that
Yep.
as well. And
Absolutely.
coach. And then, of course, Coach Tyson that I mentioned, and all of you girls at Oklahoma City University. I'm super proud of you wrestlers out there too. So thanks, Kevin. Always a great reminder. Go have fun today with OU.
Yeah, it'll be a blast. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for
All
showing
right.
up.
See you all next Monday.